Hey everyone, welcome to thelines.com. My name's Nicole, and in today's video, we are going to be talking about New York online sports betting, specifically what you can and cannot wager on in the state. But before we dive into today's topic, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below, give us a thumbs up, and ring the bell so you know every time we post a new video. New York online sports betting has been live for a few weeks, but there is still a lot of confusion about what you can and cannot wager on in terms of collegiate athletics. And we've recently reported on these bans, but are here to deliver some good news. They are not as far-reaching as we initially thought. This is also going to be some good news for operators in the state that we have spoken to that are still confused about what you can and cannot offer when it comes to collegiate wagering. Without further ado, let's jump on into this topic. In the New York sports betting market, you are not allowed to wager on in-state collegiate athletic programs, and this is going to ring true across all sports. That means Army football is going to be off the table, as well as about 22 collegiate basketball programs in the state. However, these bans do not extend to collegiate athletic events being held in the state. Originally, it was thought that if a collegiate athletic event was being hosted in New York, it was ineligible for wagering regardless of what team was playing in the event. However, we were able to get comment from Senator Joseph Adabo, the chairman for racing, gaming, and wagering in the state, and he said, "You can bet on games taking place in New York, but not on New York teams, including when they're in a bracket." And that's going to be really good news for bettors in New York because we know that New York is set to host a handful of March Madness games through 2026. This includes early round matchups in this year's tournament, as well as Elite 8 and Sweet 16 games in next year's tournament. Originally, under that thought process, you weren't going to be able to wager on any of those games that were hosted in New York, but now we know as long as a New York team is not in those matchups, you'll be able to wager on them. And because we know that March Madness is one of the biggest wagering events of the year outside of the Super Bowl, sportsbooks have to be thrilled with this news. If you take a look at March Madness future odds, you will see that no New York teams are going to be on the boards at New York online sportsbooks. Again, this is because you cannot wager on in-state collegiate athletic programs. Let's go ahead and take a look at the Big East tournament where the same is going to ring true. We know that this tournament is held at Madison Square Garden every single year and that St. John's and in-state university does participate. If you want to wager on St. John's to go the distance, you're going to have to get in your car and head on over to another state like Pennsylvania or New Jersey, but the rest of the teams and the rest of their matchups and futures are going to be on the board for New York online sports bettors. And I didn't forget about our college football fans either. The Pinstripe Bowl is going to be available for wagering as well. New York hosts a bowl game every year at Yankee Stadium where teams from the Big Ten and ACC duke it out to win the Pinstripe Bowl. The only time that this is going to be ineligible for wagering is if Syracuse makes the cut. Other than that, you are good to go. We have one more ban we should talk about here, and that is going to be collegiate player props. New York specifically bans prop betting on collegiate athletic players, no matter which team they are on. That means you're not going to be able to wager on a quarterback's passing yards or a running back's rushing yards, regardless of whether or not that team is from New York or not. They're going to be off the board. So again, this is very good news for bettors in the state because these regulations are not as conservative as we once thought. For all of your information and all of your questions about New York online sports betting, make sure to visit thelines.com, scroll to the top of the page, and hit this New York sports betting tab. This is going to take you to our New York sports betting hub where you can find things like the best new user offers from various sports books, our reviews on these sports books, as well as the latest rules and regulations. That wraps it up for today's video. I will see you next time.